very nature of the division is a crime against the people. Perhaps of all, the one that stands out is how our 2 million brothers in Patani, in southern Thailand, they were left out of their own brothers in the south, when historically all this land was part of the Sultanate of Kedah, and the people of Kelantan and the people in the other side of the border have been brothers and sisters marrying. You ask anyone in Kelantan, and you tell them where you come from, you find my father, my grandfather was Thai, they say nowadays. They didn't say I was Thai before. But no, they have to. And then how our brothers on the other side of the border are treated, that's another matter altogether. Only to add to something that only a little bit of eyesight, a little bit of opening the eyes, will show you the contradictions and the lies that they are behind. And that again is another proof of the madness that there is involved in this. But it's not reason that will lead you to understand this thing or the other. Reason will allow you to say, yes, what the Sheikh is saying is true. But reason will, in half an hour time, when you leave this place, entertain you with some other thing. And make you forget about these things for which you know, way inside your heart, that something needs to be done, it has to be changed. That we cannot be ruled by the kuffar. They're still dictating, 200 years later, who is who in these lands. They have divided us and continue to divide us, artificially, with laws made by them, that they lay behind, ironically, calling them all that, calling them merdeka. And you know, when it comes to the running of affairs, how all these things still remains alien to the deen of Islam. That the constitutions by which everybody invokes the highest authority in terms of justice, in terms of human rights and whatever they want to speak to, that this law is a man-made law, that this law is identical all over the world, that this law is the world order created after World War II, that this law is a law that protects usury worldwide, that has nothing to do with us. That although it mentions the name of Islam, it's only to diminish it, not to appraise it. For they say Islam is the religion, and the central bank is halal. In the same document. And that document doesn't have authority to say the Quran is right. And this document doesn't have any authority to say Islam is right. Especially when you read what follows. For only Islam can give validity to this document, and it doesn't give it to it. But these are things that they are not strange to you. All you need is a little bit of looking into it to see, but hang on, Bank Negara is haram. Islamic banks try to hide it. Bank Negara doesn't. It doesn't hide it. It's not just an ordinary haram, it's a big haram. If you know the hadith, I don't need to tell you. But the people don't do anything about it. And national debt, which has become now, in this part of history, the very downfall of the system. For they do not want rulers. They want non-rulers. They want governments that they do not stay. That they stay for a short period of time. And they are renewed and changed and changed and changed and changed. And this is presented as the renewal of democracy. No. This is the perpetuity of capitalism. And the changing of the theatrical political system. For it's only there to entertain you, to appear to be something, while in fact, what lies behind, the things that they are not questioned, the people that they are not chosen, the decisions that they do not need people's accountability. This is where the power is. And this has become clear to people far away in places like Europe, where now they are openly saying the power of the financial system. And they are saying the politicians do not mean anything anymore. They have seen through that because they've gone enough times backwards and forwards from one party to another in order to realize that they are the same. And that what changes is only cosmetics in relation to the real issues that they cannot be questioned. And if even in that you find an impulse of people who want things to change. And this impulse is not happening in Muslim lands. We're still somehow trying to become, we're still in the process of becoming developed countries, which means you don't have enough riba yet. So you don't have enough riba yet, and we have to get some more. So while you are in that aspiration, everything is valid. But look at the people who are already developed. They are already developed, and they are saying this doesn't work. Now, wouldn't it be that a very good sign for you to say, if the people that I'm supposed to imitate, if the society that I'm trying to emulate, if where I am going to go, if that place where I want to go is not working, and the people are complaining, and they're saying this is a disaster, and they're saying worse things like that. They're saying this is a complete corrupt system. And they go through the streets and they get violent against the police. And it's becoming an issue because they don't listen to the politicians. And the politicians don't want to listen to them, vice versa. You see? If you see all that, don't you think it's about the time? It's about time to say, well, I think I have to question what was on duapolo. Do I not need to question whether my goals may be right or may be completely wrong? National debt, of all, is perhaps the most insidious of all crimes. For it doesn't affect the people who are present. It passes on to generations that they have not been born yet. The crime of the present. It's not only enslave the people that they are visibly there, but they are the people who are yet to come. It's insane. It's completely insane. Of course, it doesn't have any Islamic basis at all. But how many people have you heard? How many alims have you heard saying national debt is haram? Not many. Look into the modernist thesis. They cannot wait to get their own national state licensed by the central bank, by the United Nations, so that they can have a central bank and a national debt. And that's what they call liberation. No wonder it doesn't work. Because if it works, it's worse than if it fails. If it fails, there is still a hope of something. The people of Sulu are people of Nusantara, just like the people of Patani. They are our people. The Sultan of Sulu and the Sultan of Ternate were friends. They fought together against the Spanish. And then later on, the people who came after. And for some strange system of law, not our law, they end up in a country called Philippines, named after Philip II, the syphilitic king of Spain, the worst king Spain ever had, the disaster of kings. This crazy loony is now the name of our people in Mindanao and Sulu. What is more ridiculous than to call yourself Philippine? Nusantara can come together. And these signs of this society that we find so clearly just by looking into the Sharia, not with the eyes of what can I do, but with the eyes of I submit to it. When you look with those eyes of I submit to this, then you start to see, but not with the intellect, but with your heart. Your heart, unlike your intellect, will force you to do something. Force you to do something because you cannot live with that lie. The heart is therefore what needs to be awakened. For reason can go through these and pass by and carry on without doing anything at all, leading then to what Allah declares to be the most hateful. I say what I don't do. But for a few, for a privileged few, who have understood that this matter is a matter of submission and commitment, and do without and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they initiate the first steps, then given the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowledge of Allah will come, and that will lead them to the second and the next stage, the nature of which is nothing but action. To say what you do and to do what you say.